Today we're going to observe relationships among polygons, paying close attention to those attributes of polygons. Today's digital lesson aligns with Mission 7, Lesson 8 for Zearn. Most of the vocabulary that you see here are actually review words, but we're going to go over them again. A polygon is a closed figure with three or more straight sides, like a triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, or hexagon. An attribute is any characteristic of a shape, including properties and other defining characteristics, such as straight sides, non-defining characteristics such as the color blue. When we want to think about these shapes, we want to think about their sides. We want to think about their angles. We also want to think if they have any parallel sides. Parallel sides are lines that do not intersect even when extended in both directions. So when we're looking at polygons, when we're looking at shapes, we also want to see and ask ourselves, does this shape have any parallel sides? Does it have a pair of lines that actually, when you extend it, if you draw an imaginary line towards both lines, that they will never touch? So they can extend in one direction or in either direction and never ever touch. A tangram is a special set of puzzle pieces with 5 triangles and 2 quadrilaterals that compose a square. Here's our first activity. Mr. Green's class needed to make squares with their tangrams. Which pieces can be combined to make a square? So we need to look at these 3 pairs of pieces to see which ones can we combine to actually make a square, and we can sort these into which ones make a square and which ones don't make a square. I'm going to give you a few minutes to look at these pieces. Kind of use them and imagine putting them together in your mind and decide if those pieces will make a square or if it won't make a square. Great. Let's think about those attributes for squares. We know that squares have 4 sides, and those 4 sides are all equal. So when we take these pieces and put them together, let's look at our first one. If we take these 2 pieces and put them together, will we make a square? Will we have a shape with 4 equal sides? No, we won't. So this one actually belongs in the not a square category. What about this one? If we take these 2 pieces and put them together, will we make a shape that has 4 equal sides? Yes. And for our last one, if we take these 2 pieces and put them together, will we make a shape that has 4 equal sides? No, we won't. So now we have our tangram pieces sorted into squares and not squares. Great job. Let's look at our next activity. Students chose shapes from their tangram puzzles. Compare their shapes. What do all of Cameron's shapes have in common? Do all 3 have opposite sides that are equal? Do all 3 have less than 3 angles? Or do all 3 have 4 right angles? Well, I can see that all 3 shapes have 4 sides and 4 angles, so they can't have less than 3 angles, so we can take this option out. Do these 3 shapes have 4 right angles? Remember, right angles actually make up a square corner. I can see that these 2 shapes, if I look at their angles, they make up square corners. And I look at this shape also has 4 angles that make perfect square corners. So this shape also has 4 right corners. When we look at this shape, does this shape have 4 right angles? does it have 4 angles that actually make perfect square corners? No, it doesn't. So this one cannot be the answer because they do not have 4 right angles. Do all 3 shapes have opposite sides that are equal? When I look at all 3, I can see that this side, the opposite sides are the same here, opposite sides are the same here, and opposite sides are the same for this shape. So what do all Cameron shapes have in common? Their opposite sides are equal. Great work today, guys. Remember, look at these attributes, take your time, and if you need to, go back to those files that I sent in Dojo to help you sort these shapes and compare these shapes and figure out what they have in common and what they don't have in common. And use the vocabulary to help you. Please send me a message on Dojo, give me a call or a text message if you need any help with any of your lessons.